Although mother-daughter relationships are often idealized in our minds, in reality, they are frequently complex and surprisingly complicated. They are also highly varied from generation to generation and from family to family. There are cultural differences in how mothers and daughters relate to one another as we get older, and every relationship between mother and daughter changes over time. But they also take many different forms, even within the same culture or the same family. So tonight, I invite you to listen in as we pipe into the Lord Deck Salon as mother and daughter duos prepare for a special mother-daughter night. The uniqueness of these duos is seen in the variety of generations represented. We have the silent generation or the traditional generation, and then we have Generation Z. So listen as the Candid Conversation at the Salon Mother-Daughter Edition gets underway. Come on, let's take a look. Hey ladies, are you all excited about the mother-daughter event tonight?
Yes. We are ready.
I don't know what it's gonna entail. I don't know any details, but I'm just excited. We're gonna have some fun tonight. So, I got to get my do straightened up and ready.
What we gonna eat?
What we're gonna eat? Yes. What we're gonna have to eat? Yes. This has been such a fun time for mother and daughters. Such a fun time on this conference virtual cruise, and I don't know about you, but I'm having a good time.
It's gonna be worth everything that we put in it. It's gonna be a blast.
So one thing I'm really excited about we just happen to be here at the same time, but I'm looking at different generations. That's exciting. Different generations of women representing mothers and daughters. And I'm excited that we have a representative from the tradition, or what we call the silent generation.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's definitely it.
Do y'all know what that is? The silent generation?
No, what's the silent generation?
It's traditional generation, but it's called the silent generation because when they were growing up, children are seen and not heard.
Okay, I got you.
Do what I say.
Right. You don't say,
That's right.
no, you don't ask why anything. Yeah. No. So, since we are here, mothers and daughters, I just happen to have this book. And it has some interesting comments in it. So I just want to, I just happen to bring it down with me, down to the lower level deck. But the book said something about, when we're talking about the differences in generation, the book said something about expectations, how the expectations are different in the different generations. For instance, in some cultures, the expectations of daughters, they are expected to be submissive always and take whatever their mother said as law. Submissive.
For sure.
And to be respectful of their mother's desires. So that's part of that expectations, and that's that generation. I wonder, would that be your generation, Miss Pat?
Expectations, sort of. Respect, yeah. And we respected our mothers, and our mothers did not talk a lot about things that are being talked about now with the mothers and the daughters. And then there's not a lot of respect in the generation now either towards the daughters towards their mothers. They think that they're their sisters are equal. I mean, they just don't respect You know, my children, they respected me, I respected them, and whatever they done, you know, we do for the best. We were all raised up in church, and we studied the Bible, and we tried to do our best to respect God's word. So that's the thing, and maybe a lot of young people don't read the Bible as much and listen at the word, and they think, well, you know, oh, I can do what I want to do, till something happens to them. Then all of a sudden, oh, well, I guess I better get over here on the Lord's side. You know how they say, lean, 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 lean to the right side, lean to the right side. But that's a song anyway. I love it. But anyway, it's
so your generation, you all did teach then here's your daughter.
Right.
So
we took them to church, took them to Sunday school, and
that's another
them
difference
at
too.
home.
Yeah.
You know, we never argued, we never argued around the children. They didn't ever hear us argue or fuss or nothing like that. And far as profanity, no, I don't do that.
Well, I heard Daddy curse when you almost burned the house down.
Well, he may have. Well,
She had a candle on the buffet. She had a candle on the buffet, and yeah. I think she
that.
left it, and I was scared. Boy,
burning them so-and-so candles. He don't like them candles now, but I love them.
What's the difference that you think, Jessica, from your mother's generation to yours? Okay, because you have a daughter as well. So what was that like? I mean, when it comes to being submissive, and we're talking about adult daughters, right, being submissive and respecting what you said.
Well, with whatever my mom said, so submissive was never even in my thought pattern because it was just the way it is. You know, whatever your parents said, that's just it. You might not like it, but you can mumble when you get to your bedroom. But you better not mumble in front of them. So it was just not there, you know. And so my grandmother's, her mother, you know, she was no nonsense. Whatever she said, that's just what it is, you know. And like the children can be seen but not heard. So she's one of 14 kids. So we always had a lot of first cousins at my grandmother's around the house. My grandmother would say, "Oh, y'all go outdoors," you know. It's grown folk talking. So
that's right.
We
you don't sit around grown folks conversation.
Talking. You know, today grown folks just talking in front of the kids. Just say everything.
But do you see how dangerous that could be, though, with the generation, especially I was raised by my grandmother, and she was the same way. She told me things, don't do this, but she didn't explain why, and it was because I said so. But how dangerous it was for me to not have an explanation, that's going to push me to go see, well, let me see how hot it is and touch it and see for myself, because I don't know exactly. So I think it's important in how I'm raising Harper now is that I'm going to explain, don't do this, and this is why. Not just because I said so, because I'm the mama. It's because this is why, and these are the consequences that could happen.
And that's the difference in the generations.
Right.
In that generation and mine, baby boomer generation, you don't ask why.
Right.
You just do it because I said so.
Right.
But even with our generation, is that considered or was that considered disrespect because we wanted an explanation and more understanding to where it's like, don't ask questions, but we really just want to know why. Is that where it's like, oh, you're being disrespectful?
It is. Yes, it was considered disrespect. But now we got daddy and mama issues because of that situation.
I also think you missed the message in the communication, meaning we were taught that was disrespectful, but you all were coming from a genuine place. Like, I just really need to know. Exactly. I just want to know why. And so we're taught, we tell them in school, don't kill that, right? We encourage them to ask questions, but then when they're at home, we like, we don't want you to ask nothing. So we even had to rethink that with our children, like, okay, it needs to be okay for them to ask why. It needs to be okay for them to be inquisitive, to say, hey, you know, well, what does this really mean when you say don't do that or don't do this? It's okay. They're not being disrespectful. They just need to know more.
And I think that's why, like, especially with our generation, it seems more friendly because we understand, you know, back then we wanted the explanation, we didn't get it, so we want to make sure that you all get that explanation that we didn't get because we know what that feels like. So then it does kind of seem like it's like the mother-daughter friendly conversation instead of that like barrier of, you know, separation.
I stand on that, but whether it's disrespectful or not, one thing that I've known about myself, I'm gonna ask a question. Sure. Like, if you say it's disrespectful, Kennedy, I don't feel like talking about it. No, we're gonna talk. I need to know what's going on. I need to ask those questions, because if we don't, it's just gonna create a divide. Because I'm like, I'm grown. You're not gonna tell me where and how to go. I'm not dealing with that. But if you sit there and you explain to me, like, Kennedy, like, I know you want to go see your boyfriend. It's 10 o'clock at night. He lives over here. He lives over there. Well, he lives pretty far. No, not like that. He lives pretty far. So, and he works full time. So, like, we can really only see each other at night. So it's just a struggle for the both of us. But we got into a huge argument. And I was just like, girl, I'm leaving. And my dad was like, take the keys. I'm gonna report your car stolen. I said, okay. But I was like, all right, that was a little far. But if they would have just explained, like, it's late, like, you driving a distance, because it's not, you know, down the street. You driving a distance, things can happen and situations can happen, and I can't drive to save my life. So they just wanted me to, you know, be safe. But I need that explanation on why, instead of you just shutting me down and telling me no.
But you know what, I think now, even though I know Jessica and I are in the same generation, I was the one that I was going to ask why, which is probably why I got all the whoopings. Because I was just like, don't tell me just what to do, tell me the explanation behind it. And I'm still like that, you know, and I get that. So I tried to do better with that when I had Cassandra coming along. Now there comes a time to, like, I don't have time to explain everything right now. Right now. Show us again. What you say? What you do?
No, I'm saying
yes, you do. But even when we butt heads now, and we've gotten better, it's like, okay, but let me explain to you why I said what I said. Hear me out, and then I'm doing better. Right? I'm doing better. I mean, like, don't front me. I'm doing better at pausing and listening to her, because I'm like, as you get older, as your children get older, you are going to see and understand why I did what I did, how I did it. You know, why I said, no, you ain't hanging out with that girl or going over that. You're not spending the night over their house. Why? Because there's an older brother there. Come on. You're not, or the mom's not married and I happen to hear the boyfriend. No. But then later on explaining why. You know, so I think there's an appropriate time, you know, when we really can give them the details of whatever decisions, you know, and push we're trying to protect them from. I've probably shared more with her than my mother has in all my 50 years. I'm going to give you some details. You might not want them.
But I found myself saying all the time, times are different now. It ain't like it was when you was coming up, because it's the truth. However, I think a lot of times parents find it hard to explain to their children because they would have to face their own truth. They would have to be honest with the things that they've gone through. And then a lot of what they went through was traumatic. Come on, Mom. A lot of it was traumatic.
I honestly believe that. And they're and they're not willing and ready to deal with it. They've been putting it in the back, pushing it back. And then also the one thing that I had to learn, probably the hard way, it's not what you say or how you say it. It's not the question you asking. It's how you ask the question. There's a certain tone I got to take, even at 46, 47, that I take with my mom. I can't come to my mama head on any kind of way. Even if there's something I want to know, there's a certain approach, and I think sometimes that's what gets confused with the disrespect. Yeah, you all want to know, but what's your approach in coming to us? And then we'll be able to have this dialogue. We'll be able to have this conversation. But it's all in your approach, your presentation.
How we communicate.
Absolutely.
Your tone can get you checked.
Real quick. Yeah.
Experienced that a couple times. But it's not even intentional. Like even though I'm spitting an image of my mom, I got a little bit of my dad in me. And calm down. And it's that tone is that I get that tone from him. So sometimes I come off abrasive and I don't even mean to. Right. Like I just be like, well, what is that for? Right. And it's not like I'm meaning to come off disrespectful.
So, and I'm like, who are you talking to?
Right. and then that's when the argument starts, because we have that friend relationship, and I'm just like, well, I'm talking to you. And she's like, oh, okay, no, you're not. And now we're arguing. Because she's like, you're not about to come at me with this tone and then tell me who you're talking to, because you're not talking to me. So
that's what's that one that's saying, I'm not one of your friends.
Exactly.
I ain't one of your friends.
So let's move into that about adult mother-daughter relationships when, and I think I heard one of you all say, she's my best friend. You know, when you are best friends as adults. Right. What does that really mean? What are the boundaries when you say, my mother is my best friend or my daughter is my best friend, you know, which means best friends, they do practically what? Everything together. So what's the boundaries? How do you all have boundaries?
You don't. It's no way. It's no physical way to have those boundaries. It's no way.
I think we can pretty much talk about anything.
And when
we talk about anything and everything, but we're not labeling each other as BFFs.
I mean, no, but it's still that relationship.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But and we do, and I think what it really, what I'm thinking it would mean for like us is we communicate well. Most times, we're still going to have our moments. Exactly. But then there's that. But I'm your mama. So
when does that? How does that?
When does that relationship evolve from the parent-child to like a woman-to-woman kind of relationship?
I don't know, because I used to have this thing. I told Cassie that she wasn't grown until she hit 30. Yes. And then she hit 30 last year, and I was like, you still ain't there. And she's like, you told me that when I turned 30, I was going to be grown. And she's like, Mama, I've been this, and and I'm like, I don't care. But what I also let her know is, regardless of how old you are, in my eyes, you will always be my baby. You will always be my baby. When you become a grandmother, you're going to still be my baby. And we get to share that.
But that's in theory. Is that in practicality, actually?
No, I don't know.
Because you're not, right, not in practical terms.
I think with relationships, any relationship, when you look at someone as your BFF, you look at them as a safe space. So you look at them as a place where I can tell you my secrets and just trust you're not going to spread it out in the streets and tell everybody.
And
so
it's
if
also that place where you know you're going to get the truth.
That's right. That accountability piece.
Yes.
Sure.
I know, like, it's crazy that you find it in your daughter, but she's going to tell me the truth. Even if she pick up on something like this going down at the house, she'll walk through something, she'll be like, now, you wrong. For that, she going to tell me, she's going to tell you the truth. And so I think that's what it's the safe place and the place where you're going to get the truth from for me. Because there's certain things, even though she's my, she says I'm her best friend and I feel like she is one of my closest friends, best friends, I'm not going to tell her. That's right. There are certain things that I'm just, even with my homegirls that are not my, there are certain things I'm not discussing with you. That's just who I am. And so it's for me, it's for that. I can come to Kennedy and be joy. I could be crazy. I could be loud. I can have, like she said, it's a little anger sometimes. I'll come up, just a little bit. So I'll come up and I'll be like, blah, 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 your daddy. And so she just looking like,
don't involve me in
That's what she said. She was like,
I don't.
I'm just here from school. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Don't involve me in no mess because I don't care. I do not care.
But
I
I
don't
could
wanna
be,
a part
I
of it.
could be totally free with her, and then there's no judgment. She's gonna love me. Now she'll tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong or whatever. But she's gonna love me regardless. And the same. And then I also know, I don't know if you ladies feel this way. There's a certain level, like there's certain things I ain't gonna do in front of my daughter. I'm not that mother. I'm just wasn't raised that way, and I didn't raise her that way. So there's a certain level where we can still have fun, but you know, even if we weren't saved for a little holy, you're not gonna catch me in the club with my daughter. I'm just. It's not.
So that's what I'm saying.
do that. We're not best friends like that.
So that's what I'm saying. When you say be
That's when it becomes
that's
toxic.
what I'm talking about,
That's when
right?
it becomes toxic is when we're doing
Yes.
things inappropriately, and then you try
There
to put
you
your
go.
foot down after you done set up and drank together or
Yeah.
smoked together.
Right,
Then you
right,
wanna be
right,
mama.
right.
You can't do that. No, it don't work.
So that's what I mean when there has to be some boundaries.
Yes.
Yes, there has to be some boundaries.
Because there are some actions that parents can do to cause your child to lose all kind of respect for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're telling me not to do something, but then I see you do it. That's right. That's right. That's when it becomes toxic.
So that's do as I say, not as I do.
That don't work with our generation.
It doesn't. And even with my generation, I was like, I cannot stand this. That don't even make sense. Why are you doing this in front of me then? It was like you said, just toxic.
Especially when you see your mother in an unhealthy relationship, in an abusive relationship, settling in those relationships. What message are you sending me as your daughter? That's toxic. That's right. You can't give me relationship advice and you in a toxic relationship. No, exactly. So that's when it becomes toxic.
That, but then sometimes your moms want better for you. Like they see what I've been through, and I want more for you. So I don't want you to settle in a circumstance or settle in a situation just to say I'm here or just to be around, because I did that, and you see the outcome of what happened when I did that. So
But that's a part of that explaining of.
yeah, 100%. It all ties back to just talk. Let's just have conversations.
So as Mother said, I'll call you Sister Pat, that said, her generation, my generation, in our culture, baby boomer was what I represent. We didn't have that sit down, explain the A, B, C. This is the reason, this is why. I think it would have been an awesome experience just to have that type of conversation. But like I said, we were, you just didn't do it because I said don't do it. But your generation, yours, we gotta have that time to really sit down and talk.
But you know what? When you sit down and you say, I want my daughter to be able to come to me and talk to me about anything, but then you don't create that environment or that relationship, that's why our daughters are holding secrets. That's why they don't feel safe. That's why things are happening to them and we have no clue until years later because they're acting out. Yeah, because we never created that environment and created that relationship for you to come. So it's important even in a mother-daughter relationship to create that safe space. What I'm trying to say is like, it's just not natural. It just don't happen because you my daughter. You got to create it.
And then you have to be a role model to your children as well. You know what? If you see me, if I'm out here doing this, then you expect your daughter, well, she's gonna do that too, because she think it's okay. And it's not okay, really.
And then we pick up from generation to generation. We pick up certain things, and we can't give to our children what we don't have. And sometimes we grow up and mature, and then we know better. When we know better, I think that's why we make better grandparents, because grandparents are great because you understand more as you get older. You look at this and you say, oh yeah, I should have done this a little bit differently. Do you think that mothers, and because we're talking about mother-daughters, should make that trip back around with their adult daughters and say, hey, let me sit down and talk to you because I didn't realize this. I didn't know that what I was doing was harmful to you. I didn't know how to sit down and talk to you about certain things or about intimate things. I didn't know.
Apologies are necessary. Apologies in relationships are necessary. What would you say, Jessica?
I just think it's important to circle back. My daughter's 25. Wow. Unbelievable. Wow. Yeah. It's she's 25, and so, I mean, she's like, she recently told me, Mom, that's why I don't want to tell you, because you're going to say this. Well, you have to understand, you can tell me anything you want to, but you need to know for sure that you're going to hear my opinion, because I'm the mama. Yeah. And I am going to say everything that I say is going to be in your best interest. And that's what I told her. Yeah, but you this, that, and the other. I said, you have to understand. It's tight, but it's right. You don't want to hear this truth. You know, I hear what you don't understand no, I clearly understand what you're saying. But you need to understand what is right. You need to understand no, it's not my way, but it's like back to what my mom said. The word says this, you know, honor your parents. Honor your parents, and it will be well with you, and you will eat the good of the land. What land are you on right now? See, what your actions has caused this situation. Now, I'm not talking about my daughter in this situation. I'm just saying in general. You know, we have to, at some point, get back to your generation with the word.
Right. And then I think it's also important as we're dealing with adult daughters, we're not dealing with children, we're dealing with adults that, because I know I have sons, and then I rely on Miss Tonisha, my daughter-in-law, all the time, so she can't get rid of me. So, but understanding that there is a space that I have, and that if you come to me, I'm not going to invade your privacy. I've learned that. Now, I did for a while there, but I've learned I'm not going to invade your privacy. But if you come to me, this is my area. I'm mother. If you come to me, then I want to know, do you want me to tell you the truth, or you just want me to listen? And that's all. Just listen and give you, just give you the or do you want my opinion?
And that's asking permission.
That's asking permission. Right.
That's important.
Right.
Asking permission.
So do you
and then
want my
apologizing?
Right.
It's healthy ways to build that relationship
Exactly.
with your children. I think
So
that's
if you
healthy.
want my opinion,
Yes.
I will tell you, but I'm not going to put it off on you. This is what I feel, and I think if you go this way, I think this is a good, because you asked.
Yes.
But I'm not going to just come up to you and say, hey, you know that's not right. I don't think you should be doing this, because the first thing they'll say, I'm grown.
Too, like we were talking about, like it's a certain way to have that conversation to where that wall does not go up. But if you just straight like, rah, I'm the mom, this is what, it creates that wall and that barrier, and it's like, well, I don't want to open up and talk to you because that's not what I came here for.
That's right.
But the thing of it is you have to be willing to hear the truth, though. And so sometimes when your mother says something to you, I didn't come here for that. But that's all she can give you, because that is the truth. You see what I'm saying? So you have to be open to that.
One of the things I learned at one of our women conferences, it was several years ago, and I can't think of the lady's name that did it. I think it was our same lady that did the hula hoops. Yeah. And when she brought that up, I sat there next to my mom, and I don't know how much crying I did that time. I'm like, oh my goodness, I am messing up with my daughter. Because if there was one thing that I knew I wanted to make sure that I had a great relationship with her, because I don't feel that I have that with my mom. And I look back because she didn't have it with her mother. And I'm like, if I don't do nothing else right, I'm going to do this one right. And when I learned that, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting better. Because there are things that Cassie's just like, I need to tell you something. And I'm like, oh God, okay, oh shoot. Okay, and I have to brace myself. And then I'm just like, I don't know what's going to come out of her mouth, and then it's like, okay. And then I just wait. And then she looks at me and she's like, well, aren't you gonna say something? And I was like, what, do you want me to give some input? And that has helped. I don't have it perfected, but it works. And I do think that there are times where we as mothers have to go back to our children and address what we didn't do right. I think that allows some additional healing. I think that allows some additional healing for us and for them to understand, mama's not perfect. I didn't get the perfect book to raise the perfect kid because I'm not the perfect mother. Y'all didn't come with a to-do book. And yes, and every one of them are different. And my God, Mama Pat, 14 kids in I just can't imagine all those different personalities.
My daddy died when he was 48, but he had 14 kids, 10 girls and 4 boys. And she said she'd never remarry. She never did. She lived till she was 91. And we took care of our mother.
But I think that's important, is that we have to recognize that we all come with traumas. And so my responsibility is not to pass that on to Harper. We have to be careful to break those generational cycles and go back to the word and make sure we hold our children accountable. But when we're wrong, we have to own that. And we have to tell our children. That builds that trusting relationship, because your child will see, wow, my mom took ownership with what she did wrong or what she said wrong to me. Because, we can say stuff out of turn because we upset, but then we got to come back and say, you know what, I'm sorry, I take ownership of what I said. That continues to build that healthy rapport with your daughter.
And even as believing women, we can cut without cussing. Come on.
And we can use religion. To really whoop our children. Yeah. Look at Cassidy testified. I'm gonna tell the Lord on you.
You use the religion.
We got to be careful with that, though. You know what I mean? And that was a lot of what my grandmother's generation did was, I said so, and the Lord is watching you.
Right. Because we want you to feel guilty for doing whatever we want you to do.
But I think another thing we need to be careful of is women, because I do it. I see things that Kennedy does, and I'm like, ooh, and it just like infuriates me and makes me mad. But guess what I see? Me. On steroids. Right. And so instead of just acknowledging that and letting it make me mad or get mad and angry towards her, and it caused division in our relationship, I need to sit down and explain this. Come on. This is what I did. Come on. That's real. And baby, if I can help you, abort the mission. Come on. If I can help you, let me help you so you won't have to have the same bumps and bruises that I had. Come on. And that I'm just now healing from at 46.
That's it. Because sometimes that's that spot that we're in that it's like, that cut still hurts. That cut might have happened 15, 20, 25 years ago. That cut still hurts. But guess what? We're going to have to put some salve on there, and I'm going to have to work with you because we can't go down that same path. And let me share with you the why.
But Kennedy is coming from a standpoint, well, Mama, your trauma is not my trauma. So let me learn. That's our generation.
Exactly what I was saying.
Your trauma is not my trauma, Mama. Like that's you.
Yeah.
That's not me.
But see, but the thing is if I don't bump my head, then I'm never gonna learn. I'm going off of your experiences and what you're telling me. So all you're doing is instilling fear in my heart.
But what we're trying to say, what we're trying to say is that there are some things you're right. You absolutely right. You're going to have to bump your head. But there are certain things. My sisters, they had children. Both of them had children before they were married, right? I seen how that broke my mother's heart. I did not want to do that. I learned. I seen their struggle. I learned I didn't want that. And so there's certain things.
Nobody was telling you that.
But I still could have gotten. It wasn't above me to get caught up in.
Sure.
Okay.
You learn from other people's experience.
Exactly.
You ain't gotta experience everything.
That's what I'm saying. You ain't gotta have a whole bunch of lumps, babe. I'm like, your head gonna be real lumpy. That's wisdom, right? You know what I'm saying?
Like I know that it is wisdom, and I agree with everything that you're saying. However, we cannot step into their space. That's a God space. You put it in them when they were young. You have to trust God that even if they fall, even if they bump, even if they get bruises, that they will turn around. As mothers, we are natural nurturers, and we do not want to see our children hurt. But they're gonna have to learn how to get past things just as we did. And we're not gonna be able to divert difficulties. We're not gonna be able to just keep them from worldly things. We're just not. But we can be a safe place. After you've bumped, after you've fallen, after you've gotten that scrape, know that I'm here. My door is always open. This is a safe place for you to heal.
Without saying, I told you. Didn't I tell you, Mama Pat?
It's so hard to say I told you not to say that. Because
and it is
as
tough.
a mom, your mother can predict what's about to happen. But she don't have to say it out loud, but she can say it in her mind. And she's like, I don't want her to do that, so I'm not going to say what's going to happen, but I'm going to try to prevent what's going to happen. You know.
I'm doing family therapy right now with a mother and daughter, and she's a teenager. And she does not feel safe with telling her mom anything because her mom has went and told her sisters. So her sisters have, discipline. That's the whole thing. So what I tell them all the time is that you got to understand mom and daughter, that there has to be a level of trust, and mom has to understand. Instead of expecting baby girl to change, you be the change. You got to be the change. You shift and you change, she's going to follow suit. And everything that you've given her, prayer still works. You don't have to be the savior. What do we need God for if you're going to do that? Pray for her. She will get back to that place, but there has to be a level of respect and trust that when I come to you and say, Mom, I want to tell you something, you're not going to spread what I told you to everybody and then make them discipline me. It takes a village, got to be out the door sometimes because it has to be a safe place between me and my mom. I don't need my village because I've already been checked by my mom. I don't want to be checked by nobody else. So be the change first in yourself. You'll see it in your daughter, right?
So, and it is hard as mothers.
Right.
It is hard to stay out of that space. Yes. It is very hard. Very hard. You have your space, they have their space, God has a space. Amen. And it is hard to not step in that God space and be their savior. That's
when you call your girlfriends and your prayer warriors.
That's right.
And you say, I tell my mama, what do I say? Just pray for them. Yeah, that's right. Just pray for them. That's what I heard her say all the time. I heard her say that all the time. And so now I'm saying that to my mom, to my girlfriends. I need you to pray for my kids. Yeah. My kids are grown, but they still need prayer. They still need guidance. And so, yes, I'm going to give them my opinion when I can, but a lot of times on things, I just have to say, Lord, I just help.
Yeah, I got you.
And what?
Just help.
I was just going to say, I think a lot of times it feels like parents sometimes forget that they were once in our shoes. And trying to see things from our perspective instead of that parent perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's because we don't want you to make the same mistakes we made. Right. It's just what she said. Mary sees herself in you. And she doesn't want you to make the same mistake. She hasn't forgotten anything. It's just, and she understands where you at. She just don't want you to go where she's been. That's what it is.
So would you all say, mothers and daughters, that really, truly letting go is a very difficult thing? That we know sometimes our daughters, they leave the house to go to college, to pursue a career. They may even move out of the house and still get their own lives, and they're not a part of your ride anymore. How does that, you point to your mother, that dynamics of letting go? Because I know if we don't let go, how are they going to ever learn how to function in an adult world? Because you don't know how long you will be here actually for them. And don't we want our daughters, our children, to be able to manage on their own and do this adult thing without us.
And also, I think it does, if you're not sensitive to that, let go. Because I tell everybody, I do not like being a parent to adult kids. I don't. It's hard. And when y'all were little, it's more for in this. It's a control thing. I can control. Hey, sit down. Go over there. Do this. I can't do that now. And so I have to wake up every morning and be. I do. I have to wake up every morning and be like, okay, God, help me. They grown. So help me be what they need me to be, but it's not what they were when they were little. Because if you don't let go, like you were saying, it does more damage in the end, and it ends up pushing them further away from you, and no parent wants that.
What were you saying, Kennedy?
I struggle so much in our household with control because I'm the youngest, and of course I'm a girl. Like I can't grab my keys without somebody asking me where I'm going. That is my biggest pet peeve, because it's not that I don't want you to know where I'm going, but it's just like, no. Like, why do you need to know where I'm going?
And sometimes, like I tell her, it ain't that we want to know. It's just we nosy. Who cares?
But see, that's the thing. That's the thing. I don't need you to be nosy in my circle. I don't need, like she said, the space. I don't need you to be nosy in my space every single time. Like, I can leave and be like, hey, I'm about to go run an errand real quick. Well, where are you going? Who you going with? What time you going to be back? She literally had my dad driving around the tri-state area trying to find me because I didn't answer my phone. Like, what?
And it was, no, y'all.
It was one phone call, though. She acted like she called me 76 times, and I just disappeared off the face of the earth.
It was,
tell her
it
what are you lying?
It was very late at night. Kennedy was supposed to be.
6:30.
Was it dark?
It was 6:30 p.m. Please do not.
It was dark.
It was at least an hour. It was not her normal behavior. It was at least an hour or either an hour and a half after she was supposed to be home from work. Normally, Kennedy gets off of work and comes straight home, or she contacts us. So we call and we like, okay, she's not answering. It's during the Christmas time. That's when they always talk about people stealing people. She thinks she's invincible.
No, I
she
don't.
Will tell everybody,
My
I'm
dad
6 feet tall. Nobody's gonna run up on me.
Don't
the
do
right
that.
person will catch you slipping at the wrong time.
My dad has instilled that fear in me. I know I'm not invincible. I'm just smart. I duck and I dive.
But so what I see is, Joy, actually you put, I know this is an isolated incident, right? But you put your fear off on her.
I did. Absolutely, I did.
And it was not her fear.
Nope.
It was your fear.
It was my fear. Everything going on inside of my head. And I think I apologized for that. If I didn't, I'm sorry. If I didn't, look, I'm doing it now. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
Talking about some.
This is called healing emotions.
I got home. She said, well, glad you made it home safe. Oh, thank you. After you done called the police, told my dad I'm dead, like, I was here. I never left.
Cassie did that one time, and I said, and I was so frustrated with her. And her brother, who's a freshman in college, just took the keys and went. She's like, so did you call him? Did you call him and ask him? And I said, well, first of all, he's a boy. I tried to. But what I did tell Cassie was, I know what you're saying. But I said, I know what you're saying. I said, my thing with you was, you didn't respond to the phone. And that's my concern. When you don't respond. Yeah.
So would you all say that in advance, in your conversating, to make it clear, I'm not putting this on you, but I feel such and such a way when maybe you're out of your normal pattern. I would just appreciate it if you would just let me know if there's a change, and that would just help me.
She did that, and I completely understood. Like once afterwards, because at first I was like, whatever, and then after we calmed down, then she explained why she felt that way, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. But like if you just jump off the ledge at first, then I'm just like, whoa. But after she explained it, I was like, oh, okay, well, my bad, you know.
I just want to tell you, your mom's normal. Very normal, because I do the same thing. No, my daughter is good and grown in her own place, okay? And she did not answer her cell phone. I called her cell phone, and I don't know what happened to technology, but it's God's honest truth. Some woman answered her phone. So everything in me is going off. And I said, this is my daughter's phone. She said, no, this is so-and-so. And I said, she says, what number did you dial? I said, I didn't dial any number. I pushed the speed dial it's automatically in my phone. Something happened with the numbers. I called back, the lady didn't answer. Called back, the lady didn't answer. My daughter's not answering. My husband's like, what's going on? He jumped up so fast, ran to my daughter's house. I called 911. So your mother is very normal.
I didn't make your daddy get up and go do this. He did
Yes.
that on his own.
He said, what's going on? I said, some woman answered her phone and now she's not answering. He didn't even ask any questions. He just got the keys and left.
Yep.
Went to her house. I called 911. And what happened? My husband got there. He called me. He said, she's upstairs. Her phone is on silent. And it must have been something with the technology, with that woman answering. So he went off on her in a nice way, not like I would, but said, you have got to answer your phone. You're over here by yourself. We don't know what's going on. She paying her own bill, sweetheart. So you ain't never going to get away from that.
That's mother fear. Yeah. Not daughter fear. That's mother fear. So you can't put it. You can't.